Hello everyone, today we're going to be reviewing this Red Heart Amigurumi crochet kit by Yarnspirations. This is Trevor the Frog. So looking at the back here, there's really not that much yarn. It has like a weight 1 yarn or a thread, whatever you want to call it, and it is made 100, it says it is 100% recycled cotton. And the crochet hook is, I believe, a 2.5. Let's see here. Yes. Contains a 2.5 millimeter ergonomic crochet hook. So this is what we're going to be reviewing today. I got this from Walmart for $10. There is also, like, gosh, a whole bunch of other kits. There was a cat, which is like the other one that I was really torn between, and if this video, like if you guys like this video, then I will definitely be doing the cat one next. But they also have like a bird and a bear. There's like more than just those four, but I can't remember them right now. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. And I will say, I believe that given the amount of like yarn and thread here and just the size of the hook and everything, I would say that our frog's gonna be not too much bigger than what he is like on the package. And I know that when I did the Dollar Tree one, I said that like I was worried that there wouldn't be enough stuffing, but it turns out there was like plenty of stuffing and even extra. So I'm gonna say that this is probably more than enough stuffing, but we'll find out. So this is supposed to include everything you need, I believe. I mean, I don't think it says that directly, but I mean, it has stuffing, yarn, stitch marker, threads, crochet hook, yarn needle, and the pattern, which actually, I'm surprised they included a stitch marker. I'm actually, like, impressed, too, because the Dollar Tree one didn't include that. Dollar Tree people were too cheap. So we've got... Okay. I usually work with, like, acrylic or blanket yarn, so I'm not too familiar with cotton. But it feels very soft. Like, I like it. And one of the reasons why I picked out Trevor the Frog specifically is because you can make a lot of things with this pattern. Like, first of all, frogs are very popular, so you can make a crap ton of these frogs in various sizes and probably sell them as is. But also, if you wanted to, like, this base here, like without the frog eyes, great human model. For example, you could make it a bear, just change the eyes to little circles. You could do a cat, add a tail, make triangle ears. Like, this is such a versatile pattern that you could make so many projects with minimum alterations too. And that's one reason why I picked this pattern specifically, because I really enjoy that, and I think that that's something that you should look towards when you are buying a crochet kit. Just being able to modify your patterns and create whatever it is that you want to create. Moving on. Here is... Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait. Is this... Come on. Huh. Well. Huh. Butter my biscuits and call me Sue. It's actually metal. They included an actual, very firm metal darning needle. Like, and it's really thin too, so this would be really good for like fine details. That's awesome. Here is the stitch marker. So I don't know if all of the stitch markers are going to be the same color or not. I mean, I assume so, just because it makes sense for standard. But if not, then I really enjoy how they picked a contrasting color for the green, so that way you can very easily see your stitch marker. And of course, there's like some type of little plastic hair thing, like a plastic piece or a plastic hair. I'm not sure if that came from our table, because my partner does like 3D printing and stuff, or if that came from this. But they've included thread, and it's not tied. It's actually not tied in a knot like they did at the Dollar Tree. It was just kind of wrapped around itself. So that's something that I really appreciate too. So already there's like so much more thought put into this than the one that's at the Dollar Tree. So if you're a beginner crocheter and you're wanting to get started, I would probably recommend doing this. Because you're getting a pattern that is very versatile, that you can make a bunch of things with, and you're getting a whole project. Not only that, but you're getting tools that you can continuously reuse. Like, you can reuse the stitch marker and needle and your hook, like, forever until you break them. Which, you know, the plastic stitch marker is probably going to be pretty easy to break, but you're going to have to try really hard to break that metal hook and the metal needle. But I'm going to go ahead and put up these two, since we don't need them yet. Then we have the hook, 2.5 millimeter, and it is one of those nice ergonomic hooks with the rubber base. I'll have to really use it to see how I feel about it. One thing that I don't like is that this backside is a bit round instead of flat, but I'm going to use it more before I make that final decision because I'm just used to flatter hooks. So it's probably going to be fine. And I'm sure most people who like really ergonomic hooks are probably going to enjoy this. I'm just used to like the classic cheap metal set, so that's what my hand is used to. Moving on. Got the stuffing. This boy is about to explode. Like, I know that y'all probably can't see it over like the camera, or can't tell through the camera, but this boy is dense. Like, oh yeah, that's like full squish. This is as low as I can get it. That boy is freaking dense. There's a lot of stuffing there. I'm probably gonna have a lot of extra left over. And lastly, first of all, I love how this is like a reusable bag, a resealable bag. So if you wanted to, you could literally put all of like your little hook, your needle, your hook and your needle, your stitch marker, all of your like crochet stuff until you get a bigger, better supplies. You can literally just put in that bag and carry with you. Hopefully you'll have a straighter edge than mine. I don't know why, but whenever they have those little pre-slits, I can never tear them straight. It never happens. And then this is also a nice resealable bag. You can put tiny bits and baubles in here too if you want. So that's stuff that I really enjoy. I'm gonna take the pattern away here, but here's what this looks like. And then I'm not gonna be showing the pattern on here because I really, one, I don't want copyright to come get me, and two, I don't believe in sharing patterns that are not your own. But I can say that it is written in 2 different languages. The front side is English with US terms, and it tells you what materials you have. So it says yarn, main color, and then it says MC to donate. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but basically it says MC parentheses, or main color parentheses MC green, and MC is just to show like what color you're supposed to use, and then color A is black for the facial features. And then it says it's a USB/1 or 2.5 millimeter crochet hook, toy stuffing, needle, tapestry needle, and a stitch marker. And then it's got a nice like abbreviations. Like, it has an abbreviation for approximately, chain, single crochet, increase, and then it says SC decrease, which actually has like a little instruction. Hang on, let me just fold this Okay. There we go. Now you can't see none of the pattern, not really. So, yeah, this is like this section. I like how there's very many, like, there's a lot of different abbreviations, and it also goes over, like, showing you that when it says 12HSC at the end, that's telling you that there should be 12 stitches at the end, because that's something that most patterns do, but not every beginner would understand that that's what that's meaning. And then here it says bracket 6 times, repeat instructions within the bracket 6 times. And then it also has some general instructions like legs and bodies are crocheted in one piece from the bottom up. Head, arms, and eyes are crocheted separately, then sewed together. And like, this is really good. This is like really good beginner notes. This is something like, this is pattern so far is written like a professional pattern. Like one I would spend a lot of money on to buy, or like a pattern book. It also says finished size, approximately 5 inches or 13 centimeters tall. One thing that is lacking is there's not a gauge on here that I can see anywhere. There are a few little like instructional pictures, like it has a nice instructional picture on how to do the magic ring on the bottom, and it shows like where to put the pieces together. I'm not going to show the upper half, but like there's the magic ring, and it shows like how to pin all the pieces together and everything. Overall, I think it's really good just from opening it. I'm going to go ahead and get started on it, and then I'll update you guys as I do it. Alright, so I just started and I already have thoughts and comments. The first one is that I really like that the pattern says do not join, and then it says tug tail to tighten ring, mark stitch, or mark last stitch, and move marker each round. I think that's really cool because it's explaining how to use a stitch marker to presumably a new beginner or a new crocheter who would not know how to use a stitch marker. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. This is my first time using one of these plastic things. If you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of using the plastic stitch markers. I just find them a little inconvenient. So usually I just use yarn or thread. But I'm going to try. The kit gave me this, so I'm going to use what the kit gave me. So far my only complaint about it is the fact that the yarn here is like, it's like embroidery floss. And it's a crap ton of really, really tiny strands all put into one. And I know that like all yarn is that to an extent, but these strands are not really connected super tight, so it's super easy for you to miss just one little small thread, especially if you are a beginner crocheter. So like, for example, I'm just going to go ahead and do my next stitch because I know what's coming. So already I'm like struggling. There we go. It was kind of a struggle to like pay attention, at least like through the camera, to where my threads and stuff were. And honestly, even in person, it was kind of hard to make sure that I'm not picking up extra thread. And I'm sure that this is something that once I get used to it, it'll be fine. But it is something that a beginner crocheter would have to consider, especially because this hook is very, very small. I do think that this is still a really good kit. And worst comes to worst, if you are a beginner and you get this kit and you like it, or you like the pattern, like the instructions and everything else, but you can't handle like this particular type of yarn or this size hook yet, my recommendation would be to just up your size. This is a weight yarn, or weight 1. This is a weight 1 yarn. It's rated super fine, and it's supposed to be used with a 2.5 millimeter hook, which is exactly what they gave us. But if it's not, if this is too much for you right off the bat, then go ahead and grab yourself like a 4.5 or a 5 hook and grab some weight 4 yarn, which is just your classic yarn, like your classic red heart yarn, acrylic yarn that you see at Walmart and other places. Just go ahead and grab that and make the pattern with that yarn. Your frog is going to be a lot bigger than he would be with using these supplies, obviously, but you're going to be able to make the pattern without these things that could possibly hinder you. So my recommendation is, if you cannot use the exact materials provided to you, the hook and the yarn, just make them bigger. I mean, if you're worried about your stitches being too loose, you can fuddle around with different hook sizes. Usually when it comes to plushies made with weight 4 yarn, personally I use either a 4.5 millimeter hook or a 3.5 millimeter hook, depending on how fine I want my piece to be. I believe I used a 3.5 hook for Luffy in the last video because I really wanted my stitches to be like super tight. So like that's definitely something that you can do. So don't feel, just because you get a kit and you can't necessarily work with the materials provided for you, don't feel like you can't crochet. It's not necessarily your fault, you know. As a newbie or as a beginner, you do not have the skill set that someone who is more advanced or more experienced would have, and that's not your fault. You just need some practice. And it's completely fine to say, I like the pattern, but I don't like the yarn and hook. Like, that's fine. Just change. You could also totally make this with blanket yarn. You would get like a giant frog if you used blanket yarn. But you could definitely just use blanket yarn and, like, I don't know, I usually use a 9 millimeter crochet hook when I use blanket yarn, sometimes a bit bigger, but in general like a 9. So you could just, you know, go use blanket yarn. And then you could make yourself a giant frog. I mean, given the size of all of this, and it's supposed to be 5 inches tall, if you make it with blanket yarn, it's probably gonna be like, gosh, I don't know, at least a foot tall. Probably more like a 1.5 feet if you're using blanket yarn. Mind you, that's a vague guesstimation, and it all depends on your hook size and your tension and everything else. But basically what I'm saying is the pattern so far has been pretty flawless. It has nice and detailed instructions. It doesn't, I don't think it explains how to do a single crochet, but doing a single crochet is a very basic stitch that could be looked up. And also there is this QR code here. I'm not sure where it leads. Actually, I'm going to check and see where this leads after this clip and let y'all know. But my point is, the pattern and the instructions alone, I think, make this kit worth it. I mean, obviously all of this stuff together is definitely worth it, but this is a really good kit for a beginner, especially since it is such an adaptable pattern, and it's just great. So far, I think it's great. Miles and miles above the Dollar Tree. I know the kits at the Dollar Tree are just like $1.25 or $1 whatever in your state. Don't fall for it. Pay the extra like $9 and get the $10 one. Like, just trust me on this. If you try to do the Dollar Tree one, you're gonna hate crocheting. Anyway, I'm gonna go figure out what this QR code is. Y'all, oh my glob. Okay, so scanning this QR code right here takes you to the motherlode. Okay, when you scan this QR code, it takes you to their website, and it has tutorials for every single one of these crochet kits on YouTube, like links to those tutorials. So when I scanned this, it took me to the first one in the lineup, which was a giraffe, and then you can literally just look through, and Trevor the Frog is there. I clicked on it, it took me to a YouTube video. I even like played through some of it to make sure that it was legit. And yeah, like if you scan the QR codes on these, not only do you get a tutorial for whatever your specific pattern you're working on is, but you also get tutorials for every other kit. So yeah, like definitely. This is definitely, I think, really worth it because you get all of these materials that you need for one project, the instructions for that project, plus you get instructions for every other project if you just scan the QR code. So yeah, like, oh my gosh, Red Heart, you're like really winning me over. So definitely, already, like, I'm highly recommending this. And I think that if you watched my Dollar Tree review, my emotions and how I felt opening that versus my emotions and how I feel now, miles apart. Like, one of the first things I did when I opened the other pattern and looked at it was like, what the F am I looking at? Because none of it made sense. And already this is just, chef's kiss. This is amazing. So I'm gonna continue and make Trevor the Frog, but yeah, like, this is great so far. Okay, so I know I literally just got done filming, but I need to talk more. So I explored the website a bit more, and not only do you get a video, but if you scroll down, you can download a PDF of the pattern. And also, if you continue scrolling down, it has like time-stamped marks for each section of the video, so like the legs, etc. I'm pretty sure my foster kitten is squeezing her little hind end up under the door. She's trying to. She's definitely trying to get up under the door. Don't ask me how she can do it. I don't know, but that cat can squeeze herself up under any door somehow. Anyway, yeah, definitely. And the Yarnspirations website has like so many free patterns, and it has like them in different categories. Like, I saw a category for bags and like clothing and plushies and just all kinds of crap. So, you know, if you need some free patterns, check out the Red Heart Yarnspirations. They have a lot. Small update. I got my leggies done. My little leggies. My little leggies. Also, one thing I keep forgetting about these crochet kits is that so far none of them have included the good old pair of scissors. So, I had to go find a pair of scissors because I didn't bring them. I should start bringing my crochet stuff in here, but I don't. I literally just rely on what's in the kit. And 2 for 2, the kits have not included scissors, but they've included everything else. So I don't know. At some point I want to try the Woobles kit, so we'll see if it includes scissors. But I'm gonna just try a bunch of crochet kits on this channel at various points to give my ratings. Anyway, I got 2 little leggies. And I really like how the pattern is written. It has for the first leg the pattern, and then for the second leg it's like repeat these steps of the first leg, but don't fasten off. So this is how my leggies are looking. They look like this. But yeah, my legs look like this. Here's the connection on the bottom. There's really not too much of a gap for me to sew up either, which is nice. I'm not sure if that's just from the tightness of my stitches or what. Because normally there's still a little bit of a gap with these. It could just be because of how small everything is too. Because this is like a very, very small plushie. Like, he's very cute, but he's also going to be a tiny boy. And at some point, I'm definitely going to be making this pattern with blanket yarn so we can see how big it is. But yeah, here are my leggy loos so far. It's like almost midnight here, so I'm going to pick this up tomorrow, which Seems to be a common theme in my videos. Whoops. But, yeah, this is the progress so far. I just finished row 6, and then I'm on row 7 out of 25 for the body. So, I shall return tomorrow. Speaking of frogs, there's a frog that is right outside our door. We have like an unfinished porch. It's just a frame of a porch, and he chills out there like every night. And he is so loud. Like, this is the loudest frog I've ever freaking heard. The door is closed and you can still hear him. But I did go outside and I did pick him up. I didn't bother him. I just went outside to see if I could find him, and I picked him up. I'll insert some pictures somewhere around here of the little dude, and then we put him right back where we found him. But yeah, he's very loud. Alright. So this is where we are at currently with Trevor the Frog. I just finished row 15. I have comments. So the first thing is that, like, the legs kind of look a little derpy. Like, maybe it's just me, but I feel like they're a little too short. I don't know. I think he's really funny looking. That aside, my biggest complaint overall about this kit is the yarn. As I previously mentioned, it is kind of like embroidery floss, and the fact that you have a bunch of thin strings, basically thin pieces of thread twirled together. And if it's twirled enough, or if it's done in a certain way, excuse me, if it's done in the right way, then it works out. But for whatever reason, it's just not really done well here. So oftentimes when I was crocheting, I would have to stop and like double check and make sure that I had all of the strings, because I didn't. Like, you insert and you yarn over and you pull through, and then you do that, but if you do it too fast, then you're gonna drop thread, and if you ever like lose your hook, then it can be a bit of a challenge to get it back in there properly. But that said, otherwise, so far everything's been going pretty good. I still think the feet look a little stubby. But everything else has been going pretty good. One thing that is different is that it does... Oh my god. Why do I keep yawning? It's like not even 6 yet. What the heck? Anyway, one thing that is different is that it uses the abbreviation SC-DEC for single crochet decrease, and most patterns that you see are just going to put decrease. It won't really matter the context unless they put like INV decrease, which would be invisible decrease. And that's just because it's shorter and you use context clues. Like if you're only doing half double crochets, you're going to do a half double crochet decrease. And that's in general, at least in my experience, how it is. It's not like single crochet decrease, it's just decrease. That said, I think I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing the legs a little bit, because from this point on I start decreasing and I don't want to get too far up without having some stuff stuffed. So here's our dent boy. Alright. Oh, this is really soft. Oh no. No, no. No. I don't want that much. Okay, wow. There's a lot. There's a lot of stuffing in this. This is how it looks. It kind of like has little like curls or balls, sort of. I don't know, that's unique. I've not seen that before, but overall it is very soft. So now I'm gonna just start stuffing. So whenever I stuff, I take my hook out and I put my loop over my finger, and then I take my working yarn and wrap it around my other finger. Now I'm just gonna try stuffing my legs here. So one thing too is that, like, I feel like I can never get my legs stuffed enough when they're little stubbies like this. That said, this is where we're at stuffing wise. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with making Trevor the Frog, and then we will come back after a little bit and see where we're at. Probably after I finish the body, because it's the body, 2 arms, the head, and then the eyes are the parts. So that's like six parts to crochet. So we'll try coming back after I finish the body, if not before. I just finished round 17, and it does actually say to stuff after round 17. I'm just used to a lot of patterns not saying to stuff, so that's why I preemptively did it where I felt it needed to be done, but it does indeed tell you to stuff. Also, your boy hates stitch markers, like these kind. Kudos to those who use them, but personally, I find these extremely annoying and inconvenient. You have to move them at the end of each round, which is like, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Inhibiting progress? Delaying progress? Anyway, I don't like it. And then I also have some confusion about, like, which stitch counts as the first stitch on the round. Like, I kind of, round 16 involves counting a specific number of stitches, and I didn't count this stitch the first time because I was like, you know, this stitch right here is technically the last stitch from the previous round based off of where my stitch marker is, but it did actually need to count in order to be done correctly, and yeah, I just feel like I would have a better time keeping track of it if I was using my string stitch marker that I usually use. So definitely, if you're using this kit and you're not used to doing these, or if you have a specific way of marking your stitches that isn't with a little plastic stitch marker, like, do whatever is best for you. You don't just have to use what is given to you in the kit. But we're going to continue on with this. So this is how my body looks. Depending on how much thread I have left over, I was thinking about giving him a little booty. Like taking one side and just running a piece of thread through here to tighten it to give him like a little butt cheeks. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not though, just because of how the body is designed. There's not really space for that. The cheeks are going to be a little flat and we like them thick here. So that's done. And then I started the head. Here is my head. My stitch count is also off by 1 on the body in the last row, and I'm not sure how, but I'm pretty sure it's just where I'm not used to using this type of stitch marker at all. Y'all, it is only like 6:30, but I keep yawning, and it's only when I'm on camera. I'm so upset by it by now. Anyway, that's pretty much where we're sitting right now. So I'm going to continue with making my head, and then I will check back in when we are done there. And pretty much that's my plan. Just after I finished each piece, except for the arms and eyes, I'll probably do both of those before I check back in. But yeah, this is just where we're setting at, and I will hop back in once I have completed the head. As you can see, I did not in fact come back after I made the head. Fun fact, I made a doll of Quite for Quite's art contest. I was watching Quite's stream to see if it made it in, and it did. Insert screenshot here. I was so hyped, I ran around the house being like, oh my god, it made it in. Anyway, that aside, I went ahead and made all of the rest while watching the stream. So, I mean, granted, I took breaks in between to eat and stuff like that, but this project definitely didn't take me that long at all. I would say like 2 hours at most, and that's primarily because, like I said, this yarn right here is really bad for unraveling as you're using it. Especially these arms. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but if you look really closely, you can actually see where a couple of threads, like right here. Come on. Please focus. There we go. You can see right here where this one thread, like, I just could not get it to pick up just because of how, like, thin and scrawny the arm was. But that's this. The head also doesn't actually get fastened off at the end. It has 12 stitches, just like the body does, so they're supposed to just fit on really nicely. I am 1 stitch short on the body, but it's fine. So the arms and eyes aren't supposed to be stuffed, but I think I am gonna, like, put a little stuffing in my eyes, like, halfway through sewing them on, because I want them to be stuffed. I don't want them to be, like, scrumptious. I want them to be firm, whereas, like, the arms are so thin and skinny anyway, it doesn't really matter if I stuff them or not, and if I stuff them, they're not gonna look very good. So, that aside, it is time to start sewing stuff. Oh, wait, yeah. I had, like, this much of the yarn left over. Like, I honestly think this might be enough to make a second frog if I wanted to. Like, here's the label compared to it. It looks like I used, like, maybe half the skein. So I feel like there's enough to make a second frog, and I'm not gonna do that. I was gonna say I might do that, but I'm not gonna do that with this yarn. I do not like this yarn. I might use it eventually for something else, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't personally care too much for it. Also, the stuffing. I'm still gonna, like, put a little bit in the eyes, but that's really only gonna be 1 or 2 little poofs. Like, this is a poof. And there's, like, a lot left. Like, a lot. And this is still pretty dense, too. So, you know, there's quite a bit of stuffing left over. Now I gotta grab out my sewing needle. Oh, also there's this. I hate this thing. I'm never gonna use one of these plastic stitch markers for active stuff again. Maybe if I need to mark a specific stitch so I know where to sew something, that's fine, but nah, I ain't doing that again. Especially with these stupid arms. These, with the skinny as these arms were, it was such a pain in the butt to use this. Like, kudos to those of you who can use it, who can use, like, the plastic stitch markers, because your boy cannot. Anyway, so one thing, it says to leave a long tail for both the head and the body to sew, but I'm not doing that. I didn't do that, because you only need one that's actually long enough to sew on. The other one you're just gonna, like, weave in, because you only need, like, one to sew on, unless you want to double up for whatever reason. So I'm just gonna go ahead and weave in this end a little bit here, right fast. So I'm just going in and going, like, between the stitches like this. And I just wanted to do that a little bit just to like help hold it in place and to help better hide the fasten off point. And now I'm going to go in through the head and up through the top here, like so. And now I can cut off. Okay, and my first thing I'm going to do is sew the body onto the head. The assembly says, use photos as guide, sew head onto body, make sure the end of the rounds meet at the back of the frog. If necessary, add more stuffing before closing. Arms, position arms on either side of the body, one round below the neckline between rounds 24 and 25, using yarn tails to sew them in place. And then it says to position the eyes between rounds 2 and 6 and sew them on. And then embroider your pupils. It doesn't actually say how to embroider the pupils. Like, I'm a little surprised that they didn't, like, say, do a French knot, because that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to do a French knot. But, yeah, it says to line these up on the back of the frog, but mine lined up on the side of the frog. Whatever. Anyway, I'm pretty much just going to sew them up right where they line up with the exception of, I think I'm going to put 2 of the head stitches in the first body stitch, like attached to just to make up for the fact that I've missed a stitch on the body. But it is 10 p.m. so I need to take my medicine, and then I'm going to sew this off camera, and then I will be back to show everything. I'm not sure if I'm going to sew the whole thing off camera or if I'm just going to sew the head and body on. Probably the whole thing. But anyway, I will be right back, y'all. So I went ahead and finished sewing him up. Do I want this side to be my body or this side? I think I'm leaning more towards this one being the front. Anyway, so I went ahead and threaded my needle. I did double up on the embroidery thread. I don't know if that's what they intended or not, but that's what your boy's gonna do. So, first I'm gonna do the eyes, and I'm gonna try doing just like a simple French knot. So I'm gonna enter from like the back of the eyes somewhere in between stitches, and then I'm gonna try to make it like kind of close to the center, like this, and pull on through. But I do want to leave like a decently long tail because we're going to tie a knot and then hide it in the body. So for a French knot, what you're going to do is you're going to take your thread, your yarn, whatever, and you're going to line it up like this, and then you're going to take your needle and sit it against your yarn pretty much so you have like one loop. And then you're just going to take your thread and you're going to wrap it around your needle a couple times. I recommend 3 or 4 times. And then you're not going to insert in the same stitch, but you're going to insert like slightly above it. And then you're going to want to make sure that it exits out the same hole that you entered in so you can tie off. Then you just tighten it. And that's one eye. And now I'm just going to go ahead and tie it off here and hide my ends. So you want to make it pretty tight when you're trying to hide it, so that way it'll fit through the gap. So now you're just going to go back through that same gap and then weave it out wherever you want. Okay, and then I got the knot pulled through. Now I'm gonna snip. And I'm gonna take this off so I can weave in the other end. I'm probably gonna have to do these separately just because of how thin the eye of this needle is, but we'll see. There we go. Now I just gotta pull that through, fiddle around over here so you don't see it. And that's one eye done. And now I'm going to rethread and do my second eye. And I'm going to do pretty much the same thing there. So the frog mouth that they have is like really wide, but I think I'm going to go for a smaller like V-shaped mouth. But I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm going to see how it looks and go from there. But I think it would be really cute with a small mouth. Anyway, going to repeat the steps from last time. Go in between some stitches for the back, you know, pull it close, but not too close so you have a tail to tie. Have the eye of your needle facing the end of your thread, and the tip of the needle, the point of the needle, facing the working thread, the thread that is not ending, and wrap around. I did 3 times on the first one, so that's what I'm doing here, 3 times. And then you're just gonna go up one. Let's see here. And make sure to exit out the same hole you entered. There we go. And sometimes with the French knot, you have to like actually hold the thread, hold the knot in place while you're yanking it through. This one got a little messy, so I gotta like fiddle with it. There we go. And repeat the steps. Tying a knot in the back and then hiding it. And there is Frau. Now for the mouth, I'm going to keep it thin. I wanted the eyes nice and thick because I wanted them to be pretty big. So for the mouth, I'm doing a V shape. So I'm pretty much just going to go like kind of between the eyes. And do I want to do it higher or do I want to do it middle? Let's see how it looks up higher. So insert your hook near one eye and make sure it leaves near another eye. Like that. Once again, pull so you have kind of a tail, and then you're going to reinsert your needle back to where you first inserted it, and you're going to find a midpoint somewhere between your 2 stitches, and you want to bring it down at least a couple rows. How many rows just really depends on how wide you want it. So, yeah, that looks nice. So then after you've done that, you're going to once again insert your needle into the same hole you just exited out of and go back to your original hole. And now you're just going to tighten. And as you're like slowly tightening, just move everything around to make sure that it's all in place where you want it pretty much. Like that. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. And then once more, tie off. Well, tie off. Hello, please cooperate. And then hide your knot. So go into the same hole you originally entered in. Are you serious? I cannot tell you how many times my needle I don't know if you all could hear that or not, but apparently my cat's got the zoomies because they're running around like crackheads. Anyway, my needle has come unthreaded like 12 times during this. And so I'm just gonna go right to the back, pull it taut. Dang, bro, these cats are out there totally ruining our living room. I can just hear them. Okay, doing the same thing I just did with the second thread. There we go. And then if you have like ends that are sticking up like this and just squishing it like that doesn't work, then what you can do is take your needle and like insert where the thread is, or insert like a stitch away from it, and just kind of like swirl your needle around. Anyway, here he is. This is Trevor the Frog. Got my needle, got my stitch marker, my extra yarn. Well, they're gonna break something in there. Again, I don't know how much my phone's picking up, but they're literally gonna break something in a second. Last night they woke us up because they knocked a box off the table and it was very loud. Thankfully there was just clothes in it, but it still like scared the crap out of us. Anyway, so this has been the Yarnspirations Red Heart Amigurumi crochet kit for Trevor the Frog. I didn't sew too much to the process, again, just mostly to avoid copyright and other stuff. I'm not sponsored, but if Yarnspirations or if Red Heart wants to sponsor me, like, you know, hit me up. I will 100% take a sponsorship. Especially because Red Heart is like the yarn that I use 90% of the time. But yes, here's Trevor the Frog. He's adorable. He's going to my bestie. And I think I'm probably going to make like a giant version or like a bigger version using, ooh, I just thought of something cool. Okay, so I've seen like a lot of people pretty much on Facebook only, where they take like a white or a black blanket yarn and then they take a color, like a regular weight 4 yarn, like Red Heart yarn, and they make sure that it has an ombre of sorts, or whatever it's called, where it's just got like colors that slowly shift into other colors, and they like crochet with both pieces. I think doing that with this frog would be so cute. Oh my god. Like, let me know if that's something y'all would like to see. Obviously, I can't film a full tutorial of it, but I could do like a little progress video, kind of like what I did here. Also, I think I'm gonna post the clip of Quiet talking about my doll on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyright struck or not. But if I don't, that's gonna be up. Because that, like, literally I'm so happy and so proud. And I wish that Quiet had a P.O. box that I could send it to. And I know they mentioned going to, like, XACon or, like, VidCon or whatever, but, I cannot go to conventions. Maybe if they were closer, but, medically and financially, I could not make that journey. That aside, this has been Trevor the Frog. I hope you all enjoy him. I had a fun time making him for the most part. The pattern, great. This annoyed me. but I'm definitely going to be making this frog several times over. Like, especially with the blanket yarn thing, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that, and I don't know if I want to do like pride yarn or not. Probably not, because by the time I finish, I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I'm trading for the second Shad Hadid novel, and I bought this really cool cat pattern, realistic cat pattern by someone on Etsy, like Nikki something or other. But by the time I finish that, Pride Month's gonna be over. But either way, I'm definitely gonna do something with that because that sounds cool. So like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know what you all want to see below. The next video after this one is going to be another crochet hat tutorial, because I know at least 3 hat patterns, and I'm working on getting a Shrek bucket hat pattern. So once that is done, then, you know, that'll be something. But the hat that I'm doing before that is just like your basic beanie. Like this one. Just a very basic double crochet beanie. And I wear this thing all the time. It's not too hot or anything like that. But again, let me know, comment down below, like, if there's something specific you want to see or something you want me to make or test. Eventually, my goal is to get where I can test a Woobles kit. I really want to test a Woobles kit. I keep seeing those things everywhere and I want to test one, but Woobles kits are very expensive. They're like, last time I checked, I think they were like $20 or $30 a kit, which is a little ridiculous in my opinion. But it might be worth it. I'm pretty sure that they use t-shirt yarn instead of regular yarn too, so we're gonna have to check that out. But the Red Heart, I would probably recommend this kit as a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this kit as a 9 out of 10. And the one point that I'm docking is because this yarn is a pain in the butt to work with. Especially if you're a beginner, you're probably gonna get a little frustrated with it. But overall, it's really nice. If you were going to use this kit, either you could use the yarn and try to get used to it, or I would recommend getting like a different yarn. And if you don't want to commit to buying like a full skein, because I know that they're also like $5 a piece now or something like that, you can go to the Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Tree actually makes some fairly decent yarn. It's not the best quality, but for $1.25, it's pretty good, and you definitely get enough to do this project. So, yeah, and I'm pretty sure this kit gives you enough to make 2. It doesn't say anywhere that you get enough to make 2, but, I mean, minus the embroidery thread, which, if I hadn't doubled up on it, I'm sure I would have had enough. But, yeah, 9 out of 10. I don't know, if you want to learn how to crochet and you don't want to, like, get all this stuff separately, buy a kit. Like, this kit is one that I can definitely recommend giving to someone or getting for yourself. But not the Dollar Tree kit. The Dollar Tree kit haunts me in my sleep. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice time. Bye! Okay, this is my 3rd time trying to record this. The first time my camera wouldn't flip. The second time my relative called. So, I filmed that video before I had gallbladder surgery, but I didn't actually have time to edit it. So, I did it now, today. I think it's like July 8th today, and I had surgery on the 26th? Yeah. Make a long story short, the doctor's office told me my pre-op stuff would be done on the 26th, and my actual stuff would be done on the, like, the actual surgery would be done on the 27th. That was incorrect. The hospital called me on the 25th and was like, hey, you gotta come do your pre-op, your surgery's tomorrow at 6 a.m. Also, I apologize for the rain. It's pouring. I can't help it. It has not... It's been raining a lot lately. Anyway, so I've made quite a few of the frog patterns so far. I've made like 3 different ones, 3 different versions of them, and I'm working on a 4th one. So most of them I've been using scrap yarn. So here's the first one. There's like several different shades of blue, And there's like green. So I did like a light baby blue color, a slightly darker one, and then there's like kind of a lighter color up here on top. And then pretty much all of it is 2 different versions of baby pastel colored yarn. So like white, pastel green, pastel blue, pastel yellow, and pastel pink mixed in with them. One's kind of like lumpy and the other one is more smooth. And then the arms and the eyes are almost like a sage green, but I think it's a little lighter than sage green. And it is a different type of baby yarn that has orange, green, white, and pink in it, all in pastels. So this is Angie Frog. And then this one is already purchased. It's already spoken for. My bestie bought this one from me. But this one is like Zombie or Frankenstein Frog. He's got an X for one eye, an Angie eye for the other eye, and just stitches all around the body. Again, these two are completely made out of like little balls of scrap yarn I had. I just combined them to make Frog. And then we have Blanket Yarn Boy. This is definitely bigger than a foot. This is a little bit bigger than I was expecting. But this was made using white blanket yarn and then 2 different pride yarns. This one's like the Big Twist regular pride yarn, and then this one down here, you can't hardly tell, but it's like the exact same thing but pastel. I don't remember what brand it is. And then this is the one I'm currently working on. This is a black blanket yarn with this one. One of the videos that I lost was a yarn haul where I showed where I got that yarn from, but I digress. Anyway, as I was saying, the frog pattern is very versatile, and if you are interested in the Froggos, I don't know when exactly, probably sometime within like the next couple days or the next week or so, I will be doing a drop on my TikTok shop where I will be releasing all except for the Zombie Frog for sale. Zombie Frog is spoken for, but the other 3 will be available sometime soon, sometime within the next few days. So, and if they're not, then that means they sold out. Anyway, everybody have a nice day, and like, comment, and subscribe. Especially comment down below anything you want to see in the future, any reviews or anything like that. And all of you have a nice day. Okay, so a quick add-on. This is the Quiet doll. This is the Quiet Pride doll I made. It did make it into his video on the Go channel, the secondary channel, but yeah, this is the Quiet doll. I just wanted to show that off.